Master Below, thank you so much for coming on here. I'm excited to talk about your journey working with me and W Dojo, part of the Black Belt Business Elite one-on-one coaching program. So tell us a little bit about your schools, your martial arts background, just like a quick summary so people know who you are.
I've been training since 1983, opened up my school. I went through the competition circuit, had some success, not as far as I would have wanted to go, but still trained really hard. Went to school to become a history teacher. My instructor said, instead of going to teaching, why don't you come teach Taekwondo? Instead of teaching them for a year, you could have students for life. So I went and started working for him. A couple years into it, we went separate ways. I opened up my own school in 1999. When I opened it, my goal was to have 100 students in a year. I had 200 students. I was definitely overwhelmed. I was passionate. I was hungry. I had children to feed. I had a house to pay for. That single location continued to grow. We opened up a second location, which my son runs. Back 2017, built a building along the way, and just kept on training my students, shared my passion, and then they wanted to become professional martial artists. So I took on a partner, Master Matt Tracy, in my headquarters location. My son is there, and we just took over a third location 6 months ago, which is already showing great progress. We have 3 locations within our organization.
Very cool. So you have 3 schools now, and you also do some coaching as well, some of the
Yes,
owners too.
yes. We have a company called Empowered Mastery where we take martial arts values and bring them to corporate America.
You're not like a new martial arts school owner or someone who's been struggling for a long time. Like your school's by all standards really top 1% in the country.
Oh,
Um,
thank you. I appreciate that.
what made you decide to get started in joining the program?
I did not know who you were and what you were about. Master Tracy said, look, I think you would be good to have a conversation with yourself about helping the other locations. I'm a big advocate for coaching because why? Coaching will give you a perspective that you may not see. And if you have somebody who's making it and doing it successfully, let's duplicate the model. I don't want to reinvent the wheel, which I'm notorious for doing. I have an open mind and we had the conversation. I liked everything you had to say. The proof was there. And then I looked through social media. I'm like, holy cow, what the heck is he doing? You are well known in the industry. You explained to us what the outcome was going to be. I love the fact that you have a system and a process for the staff to follow, that you have had, again, tremendous success in getting into the schools, which we have too, but not at the same capacity. And I love the way that you were saying, yeah, I'm going to hold your team accountable. I'm like, I'm all in.
Okay, great. So what problem did you have? Were you trying to do more school programs or get more out of it? What were you trying to achieve?
We did just take over that other location. We needed to grow quickly. They have not been successful in the school programs. So it's really geared towards getting those 2 locations to grow and grow quickly. That was the big purpose. That's why we signed on.
Yeah, okay, that's great. Because I think it's so important that like a lot of martial arts school owners assume if they join a coaching program, they must be struggling, must be like in some terrible spot. You're not, right? And
No.
most of the school owners I work with, like I have multiple that do 6 figures a month in revenue. And I've worked with school owners that have 50 schools before. So
Mm-hmm.
really the ones that are the most mature schools that like usually can get help the quickest because they understand how to implement and
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily the school that's someone who's teaching out of maybe their basement or they're brand
Yeah.
new. And no disrespect to them. They're rookies in the game, right?
Yeah.
So most of
Understood.
the people I get now are the more mature side like you that are already successful, already do 6 figures or to do 7 figures a year in revenue, and they want to go even further, right? Why did you choose my program specifically over anything else?
Well, that's a great question. There are a ton of options, and there's a lot of people I know, a lot of colleagues are running programs, and I'm a big fan. But I did get a really good endorsement for you from one of my best friends, Master Mike Mertens. He said, we're getting results and we're getting them fast. So that was probably the biggest contributor to my quick decision. Master Mertens and I are great friends. I know it works because I've done it. And the fact that you have such a proven model where my other 2 locations were not in the schools, I said, we have to duplicate that model. So that was probably the biggest contributor into it.
If you knew how to do it at your one location, why not just copy and paste in the others? Why did you feel like you needed help?
Okay. So I love my son's location. He's my son. I love him. He is so unbelievably gifted, but I'm still his father. So having an outside voice that he can relate to, you are closer to age to him than you are probably to me. And I think that outside perspective makes it much more powerful, palatable, and something that he will respond better to.
Cool. It's kind of like you get the martial arts instructor to say something to your kids instead of the parent, and it comes off differently.
Exactly. I'm a big believer in coaching because a coach will see things that when you're intimately connected, you won't see. So, from your perspective, you could call things as you see them, be honest, be stern, even be mean at times is all good. But your perspective is from that outside. You have a vested interest in the success because we're your clients, but you don't have a vested interest in our business. So it's an outside and an objective look. I think that's a very valuable point. I'm a big fan of coaching.
Was there anything in particular about the program that's really helped you so far? Why do you feel like it's been so effective?
Two things. I think you have a really solid process. Having a solid process that's duplicatable is invaluable. That's how you scale. You have a program that can scale, it works in our industry, and it's proven. That's number one. The other thing I will say is you're extremely organized, which I am not, right? My team is, but you do with a spreadsheet and all that kind of stuff and really track everything. I know I'm a big believer. What gets measured gets managed, but I'm just horrible at taking the measurements. So you do that really, really well. It's black and white, or in your case, there's all kinds of different colors, but it is literally on screen, black and white. Well, you said you were going to do this. This didn't happen. What's going on? And I think that your engagement, your confidence in your program, because you've seen the results, and your ability to be very direct, empathetic as well, but direct and to the point to say, well, what's going on? What are you doing? What are you not doing? And holding them accountable, which I think is the role of a coach.
Awesome. I love that. Thank you for saying that. So, as a result of the program, I know we're only really a couple months in, so we still have a
Yeah.
whole lot more ahead of us. We're not even close to finished. As a result of implementing some of those systems and strategies, like what's the outcome been so far? What's actually happened?
This last month, my headquarters location enrolled 11 students from it. The other location, the one we just took over, they've enrolled over 10 students from this initiative. My son just booked his first location that he's going to be going into the daycare, and he's got another meeting tomorrow. So we're going to get some enrollments from there too. I'm confident that we will be up to over 30 members within our locations within the next week.
Yeah, that's great. And I think it's important for people to recognize that organic shouldn't be the only source of your new students. Like,
Mhm.
you need to have paid ads too, or at least you should if you
Yeah,
can afford it. When you talk about these new students, this is on top of what you already do, right? It's on
that's
top
right.
of referrals or walk-ins or website visits or ads. It can really balloon a school, especially a newer school that you take over
That's right.
if you take the right actions. Life changed for you since figuring out these systems and having the team start to do it. Has life changed in any way, or like, how is there anything you feel differently?
Well, I will say my life has not changed
Okay,
because they do all the operations.
sure.
I've become like the Queen of England, where I wave my hand and give my advice and say some speeches. I do train them all the time and I run our meetings, but they're taking ownership to their locations, which is beautiful. But how things have changed is they're getting results and they're getting fast, and that upward spiral is building momentum. I feel much more confident that we'll get the results we need in the very near future.
Hmm. I think it's also notable that you said Queen and not the King of England or something like that. So that's
That's right.
that down. Yeah, we'll get you a nice tiara and like a dress or something.
Please, please.
So, where do you think you'd be right now if you didn't join Black Belt Business Elite? If you were doing what you're doing before, kind of where do you think you'd be at with those other locations?
Oh, I would say would be achieving success but it would be at a much smaller scale. It would be 3, 4. They would be dribbling it, I guess is the word, rather than these big boosts.
Yeah.
What this is doing is just making the trajectory much quicker. And again, we took over a location that was really struggling. And because of the program, we were above break even within 1 month of starting the program. That's an important note, right? I had to contribute capital the month before your program. And last month, because of all the enrollments, we actually showed a profit for the first time.
Amazing. Amazing. That's
So
great.
that's huge.
I think the most important thing when you pay for any sort of coaching or consulting program is that you get like ROI. And sometimes it's
Yeah.
not going to be right away. Sometimes it's 6 months later, a year later, or whatever. For me, because I paid for a million programs myself, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what can I do to help my clients get ROI quickly so this pays for itself? And then way more than that, like
Yeah.
multiple times. And then every year they're able to eat from the same plate they already bought over and over and over.
You're doing great. And we are very happy. I am very happy with the results we're getting right now with you.
Okay, thank you for saying that. So, last question is, if there's anyone watching this, maybe they're on the fence about booking a discovery call where we just talk for like 10 minutes, find out more about their school, see if we can help,
Mhm.
or maybe they're not sure about joining the program, they're skeptical or something. What would you say to them?
Well, for you to grow, to invest in your business. And if you're then to investing in you as somebody who has a proven program, who genuinely cares and will hold your team accountable and say the things that not be comfortable saying, that is invaluable. I would say just do it. Don't think about it. Don't overthink about it. Something that works, and you will get a return on your investment in no time.
Well, thank you so much for being on here. I'm looking forward to see what happens over the next 3 to 6 months as we continue this process and just compound our results over and over again.
I am equally excited and very grateful for what you do. It's been wonderful.
Thank you.